All right, joining us now on the show, Brian Stultz from auburnsports.com. Brian, thanks for being with us again. I know it's an interesting time in Auburn football. I lost to Georgia last week, and as we were talking a minute ago, almost a must-win against Arkansas on the road, an early game this week because the Tigers have Arkansas, and then they have a week off to kind of revamp for the stretch run.
Yeah, I mean, it's a must win. It looked like a for sure win before the season, but Arkansas has really come along with Sam Pittman, and they have a talented quarterback in Jefferson, and I think one of the best receivers in the SEC, and Treylon Burks, and they can run the ball, but Auburn will have a chance to run the ball against them. I think Arkansas has given them at least 470 yards the last two games on the ground, so it'll be a big day for the offensive line to get going and give a chance for Jarquez Hunter and Tank Bisbee and Sean Shivers to do what they do in the backfield and take some pressure off Bo. But we'll see if Arkansas tries to stack the box like Georgia did and make Bo Nix beat them, and we'll see. But yeah, early game in Fayetteville. I think it's the first home game for them in almost a month.
Yeah,
I think they played a neutral site game and then had two road games. So I'm sure the fans will be ready and excited and pumped up for the game, even though it's 11 a.m. And it'll be a challenging game, but I think Auburn might pull it out. But like you said, it's a must-win game for them.
Yeah. How do you see the team responding from Georgia last week? They obviously had chances to win the football game, but didn't pull that off. And then they have to go early game this week. Is that tough to recover from?
Oh, absolutely. I think a big rivalry game against one of the top teams, if not the top team in the nation. I mean, they're ranked number one, and probably the toughest defense they'll face all year. Probably a little banged up, probably a little sore, probably a little angry about how the game went and missing some chances. But, they can't really sit on their butts and not do anything because Arkansas is a really good team. They put up 51 points against Ole Miss and beat what is now a really good Texas A&M team. So, they're going to have to turn it around real quick and see what they can do. And, they still have the SEC West at hand. I mean, they still control their destiny. So if they can put a little run going on here, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, they have to, get over the Georgia game, put it in the past and realize that it's over and focus on the task at hand, like not make one loss into two.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing about the SEC West with what happened last weekend. Almost everybody has one loss. So that's a little motivation for Auburn and everybody else in the West.
Yeah, we talked with Keandre Jones and Derek Hall yesterday and said this really hit him in the heads that they still control the destiny even with two losses. I mean, the one loss is to Penn State is out of conference, and the other loss is the number one Georgia, and everyone in the SEC West has at least one loss. So if they can, like much in 2017, if they can put a little run together, start clicking, and rebound from a tough loss like they had against Georgia, it'll be interesting to see. So it might set up for another winner-take-all Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I can't imagine this team winning out, but anything's possible, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
You did an interesting article this week on some of the young guys that are breaking through. Landon King, who played a little bit at tight end, and also Marquise Robinson on the defensive line. It shows that Coach Harsin is still looking for guys to break into the lineup, even though we're almost halfway through the season.
Yeah, the message is very clear to these players. I mean, if they want to play, they have to bring it to practice every day. They have to prepare when they're not on the field in the practice facility. They have to show that they can be trusted, they can be reliable. And Landon King did just that from his time on the scout team. Everyone's kind of been waiting for him to get his time because he's a big prospect, big guy who has good hands. And with the tight ends becoming more and more crucial in the passing game with the lack of talent, we can say, wide receiver.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. He'll get his chances, and he's proven that once again that, day in and day out that he deserves to be on the field. And that's Harsin's message is, if you prove it in practice, we're going to find room for you on the field. And that same goes for Marquise Robinson, who is getting a little playing time. Maybe the absence of TD Moultrie kind of helps, but he has some much needed depth at defensive line, and he like Harsin said, he's been showing up, doing his work, improving every day. And, guys like that need to be on the field because these coaches have no allegiance to any guy. And we've seen that with, Sean Shivers. We've seen that with Bo Nix, even during the Georgia State game. And they have no allegiance. They have no pass with these guys. And they're going to play the best people that they think are the best to give them a chance to win. And, when that's Landon King, if that's two true freshmen, so be it.
Yeah. I mentioned that the other day to somebody. Luke Deal made the good catch in the first half. And I said to somebody who's close to the Auburn program, could he play slot? How much are they thinking about moving these receivers around to get those guys in the game? JJ Pegues is another guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's been asked actually by anybody, but when I think there were three offensive or three tight ends on the very first play for Auburn this past weekend, and that's something that hasn't happened since Pat Dye years. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how much they get to play, how much impact they'll make even if they line up at a slot position, something like that. These tight ends are good. I mean, there's a reason that they are at Auburn, and the reason they were highly recruited and stuff like that. And the wide receivers aren't getting the job done. So why not go with three tight ends and play one in the slot and make it a matchup misadvantage or disadvantage against a smaller cornerback or a smaller secondary player, and just give him the chance to outbody the guy and catch the ball. I mean, what else can go wrong? I mean, the wide receivers are showing once again, except maybe Kobe Hudson, that they can't catch the ball. I mean, their hands are made of I don't even know what they're made of, but their hands are not good.
It's not stick 'em.
No, it's not stick 'em. They definitely not going to be stuck tested for pine tar or anything like that. But they've shown again and again they can't be trusted. They can't be and Bo Nix is going to stop throwing them the ball. I mean, he had I think he had Shedrick Jackson wide open on a play this past weekend. He was looking at him, just didn't throw him the ball because I think he's lost some trust in him. He's lost some trust in some other guys, and what's going on with Elijah Cannon and Tavarius Dawson and all these other guys, who knows? I mean, they're not getting their chance. I guess they're not good practice players or whatever. They're not showing up to practice and they're not getting their chance. But it'll be interesting to see what Auburn can do at tight end, and putting three tight ends and running the ball might be the best thing they can do against Arkansas.
Yeah, they're not bringing their pen and pad to the meeting room, I guess.
Yeah, they're not breaking out their notebooks.
They on Bo's side, they played that play over and over again on the Georgia game when I rewatched it, where I couldn't tell who the receiver was on the top of the field, the little double move, stop and go, whatever. And Bo pumped it and then looked the other way. How much of that do you think is on Bo, or how much do you think is on the receivers? Kind of half and half, I guess.
I think half and half. I think Bo. I think I mentioned on our podcast yesterday that I think we make a lot of fun for Sam Darnold saying on Monday Night Football that he's seeing ghosts. I think this is the point. I mean, it's 2.5 years in, and Bo has not had a good offensive line that's been able to pass protect, and he panics as soon as anything happens, and he might roll out 2-3 seconds too early.
Yeah,
and
which is an old high school habit, I think.
Yeah, and he might see people who aren't there. I mean, it happens to the best of the quarterbacks, and if he stayed in the pocket maybe a little bit more, that's not who he's going to be, because it's 2.5 years in. He is who he is now, and we know who he's going to be. He's going to make a spectacular play every now and then, but I think it's more on him trusting receivers to come down with the ball, making a play. I mean, there were some plays that Robertson should have made on Saturday that Georgia's receivers did make for Stetson Bennett. And that just shows the talent gap between Georgia and Auburn right now, and shows the coaching that these receivers have had. So, Bo Nix is doing the best he can, I think, with the bad offensive line. And, well, not a bad offensive line. I will say they're mediocre. Right. But they're going to get pushed around by the Georgia and Alabamas of the world.
Yeah.
And he's doing his best with the wide receivers that he can trust. And, if it'd be interesting to see what he could do in another offense, but it is what it is. So, we're in for the Bo Nix experience, at least for a couple more games, I guess.
Yeah, for this season. The other glaring weakness, I guess I would call it, last week that I saw was Nehemiah Pritchett. I hate to call out names, but 2 big plays at least for the Georgia Bulldogs when he was by himself in coverage. Has anybody addressed that this week, or anybody talked about Jalen Simpson?
Yeah, Jalen Simpson's a stud when he's healthy. He should see the field more and more often because he makes plays. That one play he made on that screen pass where he just absolutely blew it up by himself.
Right.
That was amazing. But you're talking about Pritchett getting beat. They're just not winning one-on-ones. They're not. It's not anything technique or anything like that. They're just not winning one-on-ones. And this isn't against some All-American. This is against Lad McConkey, which
right.
I mean, that sounds like a made-up name, but I have no idea where that name comes from. Yeah. But yeah, they're just not winning their matchups, and it is a problem that Harsin's going to have to face. And maybe Zach Hazardage or somebody trust somebody else more out there. Maybe Jalen Simpson, maybe somebody new. But you're talking about Pritchett. He just is not getting the job done. Neither is Smoke Monday in coverage. I mean, Monday, even though he's going to miss the first half of the game, when he's in coverage, he's a liability. Right. And he's better in when he's up near the line and stuff like that. But when he's in coverage, he's a major liability for this defense. And I don't know the answer. They've tried zone, they've tried man on man, and when they go man on man and they leave a guy out on an island, he's getting beat. So they'll have to figure something out, and hopefully soon, because Jefferson can definitely put up the yards and points for Arkansas.
Yeah, these big tight ends and receivers and the big running backs. I don't know why guys like Smoke and almost everybody out there, they keep trying to hit them high, where it seems to me the way to bring them down, when I see guys bring down like Robinson at Alabama, they're hitting him in the thighs and taking his legs away.
Absolutely. I mean,
it seems like that's where you want to go.
Yeah, you're not going to take any of these guys down from the top up. It's not good technique. It's not a good way to go about it. I mean, take out their legs, take out their most important thing, which is their legs, and make the tackle. I mean, it's a problem. It's not like they've had a lot of missed tackles, but when the game's on the line and they have to make a play, they haven't made a play. So it's interesting to see.
And you don't want to get kicked out for targeting.
No. And that on Smoke Monday was textbook targeting, by the way. But yeah. So I can't really argue with that.
Yeah, I guess where we're going in the long run is recruiting.
Yes.
And we had a little bit of news this week with Drew Bobo out of Auburn High School. Of course, his dad is the offensive coordinator. Tell me a little bit what you know about him and how soon he can possibly fit into the Auburn system.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier. With all the offensive linemen being veterans, somebody's going to have to come in and play. I mean, I think they'll hit the transfer portal hard for offensive linemen this offseason, but I think Bobo's at least 1 year away from being a major impact player on the offensive line. I think he needs to get into a college weight room and put more weight on and improve his technique and improve his speed. But I think he's a solid commit. I think it was kind of interesting. We always thought he was going to go to Georgia because that's the team he grew up with and stuff like that. But I guess some of his team, Jamari Austin and those guys, have really helped recruit Auburn for him, even though he lives right down the street. But he'll be a solid offensive lineman in a year or two, I think.
And the Auburn has another guy that is a possible commit for the Tigers. You think?
Eston Harris. He's an offensive tackle. He's 6'5", 286 right now. You see him in person, he looks like he's ready to play at the collegiate level. I think he's better than Bobo. I think has the chance to make an immediate impact if he commits to Auburn, if he comes down the road to Jordan Hare. But he has a lot of good teams after him. But I think he'll commit to Auburn. I think he'll be. I think his teammates have helped convince him that Auburn's the place to be, and being so close to home, it's really good.
Yeah. Well, great information. Auburn, Arkansas, the CBS early game, 11 o'clock in Fayetteville. Brian, tell us where we can see your articles at Auburn Sports.
Absolutely. It's auburnsports.com, auburn.rivals.com, and home of the famous bunker, which is, I get crap on all day, every day. So if you're interested in seeing me get crapped on, subscribe to that and join the fun. So it's a fun place to be.